Do you guys remember the story about the guy who went to the Empire State Building and then it was like a revenge killing? It was a disgruntled employee.
No.
So he goes to the Empire State Building. He's all angry, and then he takes a handgun and he shoots a bunch of people. He leaves the building, and the NYPD, they run up to stop him, and they start firing wildly, hitting like 7
Oh yeah, I
or
remember
so
that
people.
part of the story.
When was this?
Let me see if I can
2 or 3
pull it
years
up.
ago, I think.
I totally don't remember this.
It's kind of tragic. I think 7 people got hit. That's my guess.
But
Let me see if I can find this one.
I'm guessing it's 7 people other than the guy.
They didn't
Just
hit the guy.
2012. All Empire State shooting victims were wounded by officers, according to police.
Wow.
So on a busy Friday morning, and let's pull this off. Let's jump into this story.
Yeah.
All right,
How long ago did this happen?
This is CNN
2012.
from 2012,
Okay.
What month?
August. And so they say
I was in training for Gitmo back then, so I missed a couple.
all Empire State shooting victims were wounded by officers. On a busy Friday morning in Manhattan, 9 pedestrians suffered bullet or fragment wounds after police unleashed a hail of gunfire at a man walking with a .45 caliber pistol who had just killed a former coworker. Oh. The officers unloaded 16 rounds in the shadow of the Empire State Building at a disgruntled former apparel designer, killing him after he engaged in a gun battle with police, authorities said. 3 passersby sustained direct gunshot wounds, while the remaining 6 were hit by fragments, according to the New York Police Commissioner Ray Kelly. All injuries were caused by police. All injuries were caused by police. One officer shot 9 rounds and another shot 7. Police identified the gunman as Jeffrey Johnson, 58, who was apparently laid off from his job as a designer of women's accessories at Hazan Import Co. last year. Johnson served in the U.S. Coast Guard in the mid-'70s, had 2 rounds left in his pistol. It holds 8, Kelly said. Now, I just want to point something out. What do you think would have happened if those officers had rifles, AR-15s?
I mean, you can never say, right? But if they're going at range and this guy's moving, if he's being furtive, if he's trying to, use cover and concealment, they would have had a better, just talking based on the numbers, they would have had a better chance of hitting him directly with the AR-15.
And let's not even say a 5.56. Let's say the police were given a short barrel 9mm with a stock. Like, come on, man. I understand we want the cops to be armed. These cops.
Oh, well, they would say militarization of police.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that would be the response.
So they're saying the cops, a Glock 17 or whatever, and these cops miss. It's not an easy thing to do. They complain about police and police brutality. It's like, okay, then give them a short-barreled rifle or AR pistol with a stock, and they will be way more accurate. They will one shot fired, guys down. Stop the murderer dead in his tracks as he started shooting at cops. Less bullets fired, more accurate. This is a good example of, like what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, yeah.
It's not just the idea of militarization of police. It's the idea of AR-15s are dangerous. It's like, dude, people with handguns, I'll admit, I mean, maybe it's just me, but rifle's way easier. I go to the range and I can hit everything with the AR-15.
Well, you've got a longer barrel, so
and stabilizing
it's more stable. It's more it's more forgiving basically for those little mistakes. With a 4-inch barrel on a handgun, right? You got to be front sight focus. You got to be dead on. You have to have your T all the way across.
This is what people don't understand is that they assume an AR-15 is firing 5.56. It's like you get a 9mm rifle.
Yeah, there are different variants.
Yeah, or a 45 subsonic, slower and more accurate.
Also, I mean, the vast majority of gun violence is committed with handguns.
Oh yeah.
All rifles combined, including the AR-15, kill fewer people every year than hammers do.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think sharks too.
It's incredibly rare. I don't know about sharks.
Yeah, that's the thing, and this is what that judge actually in California recently, who struck down the firearms ban, the quote unquote assault weapon ban. Yeah, which it's funny because I'll go to any gun store online, you type in assault weapon. I can't seem to find. They won't sell you one.
They'll sell defense weapons. It's weird.
All day long.
Sell you assault weapons.
Yeah, it's weird. I walked into a store and I was like, "Hello, sir. I would like to buy one assault weapon." And the man said, "That doesn't
assault
exist.
Weapon, please.
One assault weapon, please.
One weapon for assault." They're like, "Leave
Sir,
right now."
What are you going to assault?
The words you're saying don't.
Right. So the
don't
judge in this case, in that I haven't gone through the whole thing. It's really long opinion that he wrote, that he put down, but the first part of it, which was driving, sort of like the anti-gun types nuts, he said it's called it like a Swiss Army knife. And he said it's like a Swiss Army knife because it's there when you need it, and it solves so many different situations, different problems, different challenges that arise. And the vast majority of this, he's like, this is the most popular gun in the United States. The vast majority of people who use this never use it to to commit a crime. They are lawful. They are law-abiding. They're using it safely for lawful, legal purposes.
This is exactly what I've been trying to tell people about my Barrett M82. You know, like what happens if, like, I don't know, an international band of terrorists that
exactly.
like the Fast and the Furious crew, they're fighting, and then I see this helicopter, and I'm like, look, I got to protect my property from this
100%.
international cabal led by Charlize Theron. And so I've got a 50 BMG. You never know.
When
and she's not going to be able to hit you from the helicopter.
No, I do love this, though, because like we posted the vlog where I have the Barrett. I mean, it's a 50 BMG, and we were shooting at a plate or whatever. And then these lefties are like, what are you going to hunt with that? And I was like, what does hunting have to do with anything?
Yeah.
Like,
hunting.
You said
hunting.
plate, but for half a second I thought you said plane. It's like, Tim,
plates,
what are you doing?
plates.
I was like, what are you?
Plates. Just
Steel
steel plates.
Yeah, steel plates.
We were hoping that it would vaporize the target. Like it would, because the steel plate was rated for 308, and we're like, if we hit this, it's probably gonna blow up. We one person, Dan, got a glancing shot, so it just dented it. But it was also on a wooden, it was mounted, so it absorbed a lot of the hit. And
there's some places you
didn't
can
blow
go where I've done, and this is in West Virginia, where they'll let you do like abandoned cars.
Oh,
man.
With like the glass in and everything. Yeah, we had like a BMW and a Mercedes, and we were like, take that 1%. It was awesome.
Class war.
I also got to at one point with one of these things, and they just buy these junk cars for you to be able to use. And for tactical training, they actually got, one of the trainings we went through was firing a handgun from the driver's seat through the windshield at a target.
Oh, whoa.
And so learning how the angle of the windshield versus if your target, your target's here, so you want to shoot center mass, but because of the angle of deflection, you actually want to kind of fire down in a sense,
and it bends it up,
so that it bends, so it hits the glass and bends
refraction
up.
in
That's
action.
crazy.
Yeah, refraction in action, very good.
And people need, that's crazy.
It was awesome. It was just amazing.
I always tell people behind the engine block. All right.
Yeah.
Behind the engine block. You don't. So you could do these tests where they'll have the car.
That was in the George Floyd Square. That was when the shooting broke out. You can actually hear, and I'm guessing it's some security who's there with like, it was like some British or foreign reporter, and he like doesn't know what to do, and he hears this guy just go, "Get behind the engine block, go, and that's don't hide behind the doors, and don't ever do that.
In the movies, the cops are literally behind the door, and I'm dude, that's like a millimeter of like steel or aluminum.
Some police cars will have some armor there, but just don't assume your car isn't up armored. If God forbid you're ever in this situation, engine block all day long. However, I don't know if you guys wanted to get into this, the engine block is also what allows for pit maneuvers to take place. That
video that came out.
So it's the same idea. Because yes, the engine block is this large chunk of metal, right? That's right in the front of the car, but that's also what leaves a car's weight balance completely off, right? So your trunk's never going to have more weight than the engine block.
There's this video that's going viral where a cop is trying to pull over this woman for some like minor traffic violation, and he decides
I think she was speeding. I think
she was speeding. Yeah. So he decides to murder her, to just straight up kill the woman.
What?
So I'm being a bit hyperbolic. He performs a pit maneuver and flips her vehicle over and crashes it, and then he walks over and she's like, help, and he's like pulling her out of the overturned vehicle,
and writing her a ticket as she's
you're not even I wouldn't even describe it like that. So she clearly slowed, like she's speed. I would say she's speeding, right? Because I watched the whole video. I mean, she definitely looks like she's speeding. I can't see any of the other cars on the road, so you don't know if she's like going up much faster than everybody else. She's clearly going too fast for conditions. So he goes to pull her, puts the blinkers on. So, but then there's no like shoulder, right? There's no safe spot for her to get off. So she puts her turn signal on as if she's looking for an exit, but no exit appears. So she slows down, and there's a very noticeable change in her rate of speed at this point in the video. And she puts her emergency lights on, right? Like, hey, I understand. Like, she's clearly signaling to the officer that, I acknowledge that you were behind me, that you have your lights on, and she's like, just looking for somewhere to do that safely, which you would think. And he decides to write this up as if she's fleeing and says like, hey, I've got a fleeing suspect. I'm within my rights here. I'm going to execute a pit maneuver. So for people who don't know, a pit maneuver is when you use that, again, as I was talking about, that weight that imbalance that exists in all cars that, except for you can still do it, but the ones that don't have, some cars have the engine in the rear. Some Volkswagens used to have that.
Teslas.
Yeah, Teslas.
Can't do it.
yeah, you wouldn't be able to do it. So, another reason to have Elon Musk on.
Yeah.
And so you use that weight of your engine block to essentially smack the back of another car and have it spin out of control. Now, in the proper setting, the car is just supposed to spin around so that you don't, so that it can't travel forward, and then it stops the vehicle, stops forward progress. What happens here is he attempts a pit maneuver while the car is already close to the shoulder, right? So that's one of those, like a Derek Chauvin thing, where like, is that how they teach you to do a pit maneuver? Because where's the car going to spin? It's obviously going to smack into the shoulder, which it does, then crosses the lanes, hits the other shoulder head on. The car flips. It's an SUV, flips over. So already a lot of weight imbalance issues inherent in SUVs. I used to drive an H2 for this radio station I worked for, and it was like the worst possible thing to ever drive in, right?
I can imagine.
Any conditions, and this thing is like wobbling all over. Like I never, the death traps, absolute death traps. But hey, billboard on wheels, right? And so he gets out of the car and he's like strolling up to this thing.
What
where,
the heck?
And it's one of those, look, I don't know what he was thinking. I don't want to describe intention based off a video, but looks bad. Looks really bad. Looks really bad that he does not seem, very, worried that, he's just flipped a car over and potentially somebody could be injured, dead, or anything. And I'm sure this will come up in the case, but he also doesn't seem to perceive a threat because he doesn't, and I go back and watch the video, but he doesn't appear to have his gun drawn, and he's not thinking like, oh, this is some hardened criminal that, I have to be worried about. So his gun's not drawn. He's not approaching stealthily or anything like that. He's just sort of it's the weirdest thing. He's just walking.
It's like he's in shock, like he thinks he killed somebody.
No, he seems like indifferent.
I don't even see that. And again, that's me looking at a couple seconds of video. I can't tell. I'm not going to try to mind read
It
somebody.
looked
I
like
think that's fair.
The cop was in the right lane,
But
and
it doesn't
she
look
had
good.
to exit, so she sped up to pass him to get into the right lane to exit, rather than slow down to get behind him to exit. Like, that's an awkward situation where you need to exit and someone's on your right, and you got to either.
Well, I don't think there's an exit at all in the video. I don't think there's any exit that comes up. Like, there's nowhere for her to go, basically.
Yeah.
And
Crazy,
and
man.
it's one of those ones where it's like, at that point, but if that were me, and I know that there's a cop behind me with his lights on, I would just pull it over in the shoulder. If I really couldn't find anywhere, because I know that, other cars are going to see that, and I'm not getting out of my car anyway. So if he really wants me to pull over and there legitimately isn't anywhere to go, I would just pull over his shoulder.
Yeah, I would. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.